Hello, hello. Good morning. I know everything looks different and no one likes change, but this is somewhat familiar change, actually. We are back on location at the store today for not really any particular reason, mostly tech related, but today I thought it would be nice, we all thought it would be nice to have like kind of a special episode. As you can see, this is not the Barbados I've been working on for the past few weeks. This is in fact a perfect grade unicorn. And anyone who...
Is the sound on your... Oh, by the way, I'm here too. Is the sound on your phone on?
No. It's off. My phone is muted.
I'm hearing it in my mic. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's my computer. Ignore me. They don't hear this. I'm insane.
I was like, what? I thought I was going crazy for a second. But anyhow,
Sorry.
as you may know...
I ruined the surprise.
As you may know, because we are on location, we get to have Heather.
The one time that I interact when things are live is on this show. Salem is special.
Yay! Otherwise, Heather is exclusively behind the scenes, but I get to lure out Heather and be on live. But yeah, very exciting, very fun. And also, it's an extra special episode because, as you can see, this is an already completed Gundam. Which usually is not how this stream works, right? But I just thought it would be kind of funky to do something kind of special. We've got the perfect grade unicorn that was actually the very first Gundam I ever built on this stream. And as of 2025 marks the 3-year anniversary of Brunch and Build. And so I just thought it'd be kind of nice to look back at the PG unicorn, which is a little worse for wear at the moment. It's been in the store for the past 3 years, and the store has undergone a lot of...
Some people touch it, some people don't.
Yeah, it's undergone a lot of changes, and it's been moved around a lot, and this guy is a little bit worse for wear. And so I thought it'd be nice to just fix him up. Rebuild some of the things that might need to be rebuilt, maybe glue some things in place, just clean it up in general, and also look back at, like, this is one of the first gunpla I ever built. This is when I was still pretty new to the hobby, which is kind of funky. It wasn't the first Gundam I ever built, but it was one of the first. It's kind of crazy to do that with a perfect grade, so obviously, even just looking at it now, just face on, there's a lot of things in here that, like, extra, like, mold lines and nubs that didn't get sawed off properly, and my panel lining is a mess, and oh my god, there's just so many things about this that could definitely use some fixing, and that's what we're here to do today, to just kind of reminisce on the improvement I've made as a model kit builder, but also fix this guy up so it'll look a lot nicer and we can restore him to his rightful place.
Before you start breaking him apart, can you turn him on? So
I can.
See him blaze.
That is true. It is a perfect grade. We did wire him with all of the lights, though I think the battery's dead.
Oh, is the battery dead?
Yeah, I think the battery's dead because it is not turning on.
This is why Gundam maintenance is important.
This is why Gundam maintenance is important.
This is a stream today about Gundam maintenance and upkeeping your stuff and not just leaving it on display forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a few years, so these batteries are old, and thus they have to be replaced. But in general, I was gonna unhook him from the batteries anyway, because we're going to be taking him apart a little bit, and I just think step 1 is unhooking any electronics that are there.
Good step 1.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
What's step 2?
I don't know. I think
Talk
probably...
to me like I know nothing about Gundam building because I've never built one of these in my
Well,
life.
this is probably...
As the meme of this show is that I don't build... My wife builds these. My wife currently is really into like the fantasy Bandai kits that are like kind of like the 30-minute missions.
Those are cool.
Yeah, she's bought a lot of them and that is currently, like as I was leaving the house this morning, making a diorama thing for them. Because she wants to display them really.
Also, he's missing a finger.
He's missing a finger?
He's missing a finger somewhere in the shuffle.
I'm gonna
He's lost a finger.
At Ron.
Somewhere in the shuffle, he's lost a finger. His
so
pinky, rest in peace.
So
Oh, already his arm. I didn't even touch it. His arm is already starting to fall apart a little bit. But that is, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
We should be banished for this.
I suppose learning...
Literally, though, he hasn't really been touched that much because most of the time he's in a locked case. So I don't know about how this happened.
Well, it's because it's been 3 years and it's been moved around a few times. And honestly, I don't think I did that good of a job to begin with when I built it the first time. Because I had never built a perfect grade before. This is one of the first Gundam I'd ever built. And so there are definitely some things that could be put together a bit better, things that could be sanded better, who knows, just several things that could have been put together a little bit better. And so just that in combination with it's been 3 years, it's gotten moved around.
Yeah.
And also, I will not lie to you, there's also some quirks in this build as it is. Because the unicorn, as we all know, has the transformation gimmick and thus makes it a little structurally unideal. Mm-hmm. This is just a quirk with really most of the unicorn kits because they have their whole transformation gimmick.
Yeah.
That you gotta make some sacrifices. Because it's got the whole transformation thing. But also, there's definitely things I could have done better. But I still think, for one of my first builds, I didn't do too bad. Considering this is a perfect grade and it came together. And I did try. But yeah, I suppose because the arm has just fallen off, that's the first thing we're gonna do. But also we're gonna kind of detach. I don't wanna undo the wiring because that is going to be a huge pain. Mm-hmm. But I will just be disconnecting a few things.
I just realized this whole time we were on the wrong mics.
Really?
It's fine. It was clear. So all the mics above. So behind the scenes, little tidbit. So this room is full of boom mics.
Yeah.
So above Salem right now is about 4 different boom mics. And that's the mics that were on.
My God.
So you sounded fine. But I was like, why am I so clear but also sounding like I'm not on a lav? And I realized it's because I didn't have us on the lavs. We're now on the lavs.
Nice. Yeah.
This is what happens when Brunch and Build hasn't been in here in a while. And
already
there's been technical issues with software.
Already, I'm seeing a bunch of really sloppy, panel lines and nubs that didn't get sanded down correctly. Oh my God. Wow. It's gonna be, this is the Gundam surgery episode.
Gundam surgery, I mean, that's fine. Gundam is in a uptrend right now.
Really?
Bandai are releasing 2 games. Yeah. There's a minis game and a card game.
Yeah, I am not a TCG person, kind of at all. I'm super casual.
The minis game looks interesting.
The minis game does look interesting. I was talking to Ron about that actually.
Yeah. Because Ron really likes Gunpla.
Yeah, and also minis.
Yeah, oh, really, yeah, that's kind of... Ron likes building little guys, and sometimes large guys, because Gundam is large guys.
Yeah, I think some of these extra little side bits I'm probably going to glue in place, because there's no reason for them not to be glued in place, because the only reason why they're not glued in is so you can do the transformation thing, but I don't really care about the transformation thing. I just we want to keep him in God mode, basically.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine if some of these guys get glued in, but that will be a problem for me of the somewhat future. And already he's kind of shedding pieces.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. And I feel like that's a little bit what's been happening to him. Just because, he's been around for a while. It's one of those things that, I would think about if it's the kind of things that I think about now, because I think at the time I was super against any sort of gluing.
Yeah. I remember you being I don't want to glue it, but then also we're struggling trying to get the wires and stuff in there.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not going to glue the wires because they're wires.
But that was just I was looking at you touching the Gundam and seeing the wire kind of just there, and I was like, oh yeah. Salem had a hard time with that.
Yeah, exactly. I know I've just picked up this electrical tape. I'll probably be using a little bit of it just to secure some of the wires better.
I don't care. You can use it. That's just been chilling. I don't actually know. So, like, my guess is that it's electrical tape because it feels like electrical tape. Okay, cool. That's what I thought it was, but I was like, this is really thin for electrical tape, so I'm assuming it's just really cheap electrical tape.
You're probably right. But there's a bunch of... It's kind of hard to tell. Can we zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, I can do that for you. This is the cool part about having the producer in studio with you.
I can just ask Heather to zoom things in.
Almost knocked over my whole computer.
Ooh,
that would have been
really bad.
We would have gone to
had a bad time.
Except we don't have commercial.
Yeah, we don't have commercials. There's no commercials to cut to.
If you want to sponsor us, though.
Yeah, please do.
Any sponsors out there?
Whoa. Yeah, you can see all the little, like, weird little marks and things that have accumulated on this guy and how terrible my panel lining was. And also, like, some very odd panel lining choices that I made at the time, where I'm like, why did I panel line this and not that? What was I on at the time, truly? But
yes, the model is huge. It's the PG unicorn.
Yeah, it is the perfect grade unicorn. It's one that I've built a little while ago, but it's seen some better days, so we are currently restoring it a bit. And so I'm gonna do this away from the mic. I'm tearing a piece of paper towel.
Oh, you don't want to do ASMR paper tearing?
I don't.
Crinkle, crinkle. I actually like ASMR. The amount of...
We've had this conversation. I don't like ASMR.
Well, neither does Ron. Ron is like...
I'm very particular about it.
It's valid. The amount of ASMR jokes we've made on this channel is a lot. Except some people don't know because some of it hasn't been posted yet. But it happens a lot, and I don't know why. Because usually I'm not the one who's saying anything about it. And I'm the ASMR listener.
It makes me feel kind of weird. I don't like it feeling like there's someone whispering into my ears.
There's many different types of ASMR, though. It's not necessarily
I like narrative ASMR. I like the ones where it feels like someone's reading me a bedtime story.
Yeah.
Like, there's one channel that I like where I think they just, like, it's just a guy with a nice voice who reads, like, old classic stories.
Yeah.
And I think that's
great.
fun.
I like the role plays personally, like where it's like you walk into some old timey shop and
yeah,
those
are kind of fun. Like the atmospheric ones.
Yeah.
But the ones that are just like someone is whispering directly into my ear and like crunching paper, I'm like, I can't do it. Right now, all I'm doing is just I have a little bit of paint thinner and a paper towel, and I'm kind of just wiping off a lot of the like random little marks that have somehow ended up on here from God knows what, and also cleaning up a lot of the...
I'm going to try to edit the chat on screen so it doesn't look minuscule. I don't know why it looks like that. If it breaks, I'm so sorry.
Well, we'll try. But, yeah, I'm just using a bit of paint thinner to clean up some of the extra marks and things, and also cleaning up my really messy panel lining. I'm willing to bet, I feel like I did this with a panel liner pen, because this is one of the first, not gunpla I built, probably one of my first time, I remember what kit was my first time panel lining. That was HG Barbatorus. That was HG Barbatorus, which was an adventure of a kit. It wasn't very good, but it looks really cool, so it made everything worth it. But that was my first time panel lining, and this was like one of my, like probably my second or third time panel lining, and thus, I think either I used this is when I was still using a panel liner pen, or when I first started using my like dip ink panel. No, actually,
I think you were using your dip ink, or I think you were inking.
I think I was inking at this point, but I was still very new to it, so I didn't really know how to control it too well or clean it up. So my panel lining just kind of looks terrible because it's very messy. And I was like...
Basically, if you want to see Salem struggle at building and panel lining this Gundam, you can go to our channel.
It is, in fact, in our archives. My whole process...
Which not all of the Brunch and Build is. There's about, I think, a year missing of Brunch and Build because I got really, really bad at getting stuff up from Twitch.
That is true. But at least now we're all on YouTube, so it auto-archives. Which is
Yeah, which is so nice. I don't have to...
nice. Like, manually export it.
Yeah, oh, that was the problem, is because they were such big files, because we stream for pretty long amounts of time. I'd have to export from Twitch, because my computer couldn't just keep all of that stuff on my computer. And early on, we didn't have the server that the owner of the store set up for me, lovingly. Now I have a server to store footage on. But I'd have to export it and upload it to YouTube, and it was just hours of my time when I do so much else for the store that it was really, really hard. This is just a huge behind-the-scenes episode today.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it's feeling like. Is this a big behind-the-scenes episode, like reminiscing?
Ask us questions. If you're new, ask us questions.
If you're curious about kind of the process that we've gone through to get to this point, because I feel like things have changed a bit, but also things have not changed quite a bit. But also, like, I think I joke a lot about, like, not being good at building Gundam. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of nice to look at one of my first difficult builds, and seeing, like, oh my god, these are all these mistakes that I wouldn't make now.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, maybe
I remember the day
better.
You had, like, a 2-hour-long conversation with Ron, who's also featured on the channel a bunch, so, like, the bald guy with glasses. That's Ron. You having that, like, two-hour conversation with Ron, and then Ron coming up to me being, I found someone to build the Gundam. And I was like, oh, okay.
I remember, because I used to, like, I've been coming to this store since I was in high school, mostly for, like, D&D and stuff.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I used to be one of the DMs for, like, store games.
That had to be way before.
Oh, it definitely was. This is, like, back when I was, like, 16.
Okay. Well, because I've been coming to this... I started coming to the store in, like, 2015.
Yeah. It was probably around then.
No, not 2015. I lied. 2018.
It was probably, like, 2015, 16. Because it was, like,
so then
my last couple years of high school.
Yeah.
Is when I was a DM for, like, some of the store games. That was fun. I liked doing that. That was when they would pay me in the chunky metal dice.
We still have them, but we reserve them for very specific things.
Yeah.
And the reason,
you know what's funny? I still have one.
Yeah, a lot of people still have them because they're cool. The reason why we stopped using them is one, like, while we still accepted them, we stopped giving them out during the height of the panini because a lot of people touching dice and giving them and us giving them back out was not good for spreading panini-ness. After everything calmed down and we're able to implement, we were noticing a lot of the ones, because, like, they're iodized coated or whatever it's called, and so the gold and the copper ones, which are just silver ones with a coating, were really, really, really starting to, like, flake off and just not look pretty. So we stopped putting those in circulation. And we tried moving to coins for a little bit, but they weren't as exciting. And so now everything just gets put on our store loyalty cards.
Yeah. Fun fact.
We still have them, though.
But yeah, I've been coming to this store, like, since I was in high school, mostly for D&D stuff. But I got into gunpla when I was in college. And I remember one of the times that I was here and I was visiting, I stopped by here, and I stopped, by the way, I don't have my hobby knife, so we're just going to use my utility knife to saw off some of these, like, extra little nubs and things that are bothering me now, because I didn't notice them, I didn't care about them enough at the time, but they bother me now. So, that's what I'm doing. I promise. I'm not doing anything crazy. But, yeah, I came in here just to, like, check stuff out, just to, like, look around again. I kind of forgot exactly what I came here for, but it was mostly just, like, look at stuff. And I saw that there was Gundam. And I thought that was really cool, because that was, like, right around when I first got into Gundam. And Ron just, like, happened to be on staff that day. And So
Ron, the manager, happened to be what?
I know, right? But he doesn't work he doesn't work all hours of the day.
He does work a lot though.
He does work a lot. That is true. But he saw that I was like looking at Gundam, and I was like asking about some of the Gundam stuff, and we ended up having this like 2-hour conversation.
It was so long.
We ended up having this like 2-hour conversation just talking about Gundam, and he was showing me like the perfect grade kit and being like, yeah, you know, we got this, we started building it, but we didn't have anyone to like finish it because it was supposed to be like a stream project. And I was like, oh my god, that's so sick, because perfect grades are really cool. And I like, otherwise, I was a broke college kid. I had like, how else would I ever be able to experience or even look at a perfect grade, right?
I fund your Gundam addiction.
That is
what
very
I do.
true. That's like one of the beautiful things about this dream. But yeah, and Ron told me that it was like a stream thing, but you know, there wasn't really anyone left who wanted to do it, because I believe there was like Ron
so
and,
we
like,
have a staff of 30 now. At the time, I think we had a staff of maybe 15.
yeah, at the time
It was probably
literally
closer to
like,
12.
Yeah, it was
We've
literally-
grown a lot in the last like 3 years.
It was literally like Ron and one other person on staff who even like likes Gundam, and Ron's too busy to like do a regular stream, and the other person,
Yeah, because we tried it and it just was constantly getting in the way of things that he really needed to do.
yeah, and
Which,
yet,
like, streaming is fun and all, but when you're, like, the general manager of the store, you have stuff you need to do.
and the other person just like didn't really want to be on camera or anything, so it just like the stars just like were not aligning. And I like, keep in mind, this is like before I worked here.
Yeah.
I like started streaming here, and then I started actually working.
You know what's so funny? There is kind of a pipeline with this, our streaming stuff, and then like doing other things with the store.
Yeah.
For people who like D&D, if you've watched like most of our RPG D&D content, Angel shows up a lot. Angel now literally is one of like our demo team people, and I take Angel on like paid trips to conventions all the time.
We love Angel.
The streaming stuff is kind of a streamline. Not always, not everybody, but usually like people who get involved with the stream end up really wanting to do other stuff with the store, and because like we know them and like they show that they can show up and like do things on time and like are happy just to be here, it usually is like a good kind of uphill.
And so I was like, I thought about that for a while, because I was like, really, I'm like, oh my god, that Gundam was so cool, and I wanted to build it so bad. And at the time, that was also when I was thinking like getting more into the idea of streaming myself, because I had never really like streamed publicly before, but
Yeah.
I liked the idea of doing that.
I remember us talking, you and me talking about the streaming stuff.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing that, and so I like was like, would it be crazy if I just pitched like doing the stream? Because I like Gundam, I like building Gundam, I'd be willing to do it, and I'd be willing to do it on stream.
Yeah.
Because I just was interested in doing that anyway a little bit. And so I like waffled on it for several days. I like thought about it for several days until I sent Ron this email. I sent Ron like an email. Like I think he gave me like his email.
Yeah, because this was before I think I had my own email.
Yeah,
Because this was really early on, and I was like half promoted. It was weird.
Yeah, he gave me his email. And was like, if you have any other questions about Gundam stuff, feel free to email me. And I was like, excellent, thank you so much. And so I emailed him, and I like basically pitched the stream to Ron in his email. And Ron's like, let me forward this over to Heather, who's like our main content person. And then I just started talking.
That's me.
Yeah, and then I just started talking to Heather about it, and like very slowly, it like cooked into like, wait, we might actually be able to do this.
Yeah. I love that the dream was like you is kind of doing VTuber vibes, which is why like you'll see that like Salem has a cute little chibi.
My little icon.
Because we don't have actual VTuber budget.
We're not VTuber
successful.
models are expensive.
If you subscribe, hey guys, if you want Salem to have a VTuber set up, like full like kitted out VTuber Salem, subscribe and help us get to 500 subscribers, because that's one of our things. We need to be like a YouTube partner and make money on these videos. Just saying.
I think that sounds fun. I would like to someday be an actual VTuber though. I don't mind my little PNG setup right now. I think it's cute.
It's an animated GIF. I animated it for you. I was like, how can we upscale the stream? Because when we were when we ported everything to YouTube, I really wanted to kind of redesign some of the stuff we did, because we also were changing over to Streamlabs as opposed to OBS, which had some more functionality, I guess is the way to put it. I went in and we updated your chibi, and that was the store artist that did that, and I had to ask permission. I was like, can I animate this? And she was like, sure. And I was like, cool. So I just made your arm a little like attaching and disattaching a cool little gun or plamo, because I don't think
it's a little mecha girl, which is also accurate. I do love mecha girls, and I have built mecha girls several times on stream. Speaking of, one of my upcoming things, once I finish Barbados, the next thing I'm gonna build will probably be a mecha girl.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, but not really.
Barbados is just not getting finished.
Rest in peace, Mr. Barbados. Yeah, I mean, as of next week, Barbados will be back. Well, by the way, I'm off next week.
Yeah, we're off next week. Sorry that we were off last week. That was not intentional. Something's up with Salem's computer.
Yeah.
We don't know what's up, so we're having one of our tech people look at it. Did you bring it today?
I didn't bring any of my stuff, so no. I put it all, you know what's stupid? I packed it all in like one bag.
Yeah, and then you just didn't touch the bag?
I just left it on like the stairs.
That's so funny.
Because I was like running at the door.
Well, yeah, because it snowed. Oh, by the way, it snowed too, which when I was leaving, because it was still really light on our end when I was leaving, I was like, it's snowing, evil.
When I woke up, there was already like a couple inches of accumulation where I live.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh God.
Well, so I, as a person, love snow. I love being in the Northeast, but
I do like snow, but I don't like.
As a professional who has to run entertainment, I hate it. It always gets in the way because people don't like driving in it, and it like slows people down, made you forget your stuff. And I was like, so that's why I saw the snow. I was like, great, cool.
Because I was like, we had to shovel our driveway. I had to clean off my car, put salt, and do all that stuff. And I was like, because there's like it was like 2 inches at least when I woke up. And so I had to clean off my car. We had to shovel the driveway and salt and everything. And I'm like, oh God.
I have a car park, so I didn't have to do any of that.
Must be nice.
I'm special. It's not even fancy. It's like kind of crap, but it keeps my car not needing to be cleaned off, which is nice.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I was like already running a few minutes late. I was like, oh God, like trying to run out the door. Like I didn't have time to eat anything. That's why I munched on a cookie when I was stream.
Yeah, I saw you with the cookie and I was like, oh.
It's because
That's another type of ASMR. This is what I mean.
Hate the eating ASMR is like my least favorite.
It's also so I hate all wet mouth sounds.
Yeah, I'm like,
they make me
can't
uncomfortable.
Do it. I truly cannot do it. But yeah, I took my meds this morning, which means I have to have like some amount of calories with it.
Oh yeah,
but
a lot
I just
of medications
like didn't
like that.
have time to eat this morning. So that was why I like shoved a cookie in me before we went live, because I was like, okay, I have to at least eat something.
Nums.
Before we get started, or else I will like feel nauseous and bad. But yeah, there's something kind of as I mentioned earlier, I forgot I packed it all in a bag, like my kit, my toolbox, and my laptop. And I just like left that whole bag. Fun fact, this is me advertising the store, but the store tote bags are insanely good. I love that thing.
Oh yeah,
it's like the perfect size for my kit, my tools, and my laptop. And it's like the squared out bottom, so it fits really nice.
So every time we've done a tote bag, because the new ones are slightly different than the old ones, they're slightly different dimensions, we couldn't get the same that we wanted before. We make sure we have a couple different things that we kind of be like, can it do A, B, and C? And one of them is like, can it fit like to the brim and still not fall apart a bunch of board games, because like the whole point is that they're supposed to be able to carry board games. And Gloomhaven, which is a really heavy, huge game in itself, we always that's kind of our like stopgap, is can it fit Gloomhaven? Yes. Will it fall apart? No. Cool. That's our tote bag.
Yeah, and it fit I don't. If you're any of you guys are familiar, the box for the Master Grade Barbados is huge. It's like the size of this entire mat. Like, it's quite big. And
they're zoomed in a little bit on you right now.
I am zoomed in a little bit, but the box itself is just huge. And so, yeah. It's able to fit all that, plus my little toolbox and my laptop, which is quite nice. And it's like the square bottom is truly a game changer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, basically I left all my tools at home. And Barbados, so which is why instead of a hobby knife, I'm using my utility knife, which is quite nice, by the way. I know no one's ever really looked at my utility knife, but it's very nice. It's a Swiss Army knife that my family got for me in like Switzerland.
Ooh.
It's got, screwdriver, all the like utility stuff I could possibly want. I love this thing. It's really nice, and apparently this like kind of clear silver color, because again you can see like the internals, the like clear silver colorway is something exclusive to the Switzerland like main store, which I didn't know. And also I have this awkward piece of electrical tape on it because it has my full name on it. So there's that. It didn't come with this piece of electrical tape on it. I put it there so that we're not posting my full government name. But it's still quite nice.
But why don't you want your full government name on the internet, Salem?
Are we gonna?
Do you have a Facebook?
I do.
Can our viewers follow you on Facebook?
If you want to look at the Facebook I haven't touched since I was 15, by all means. I learned we all had a lesson recently on internet safety, and I thought about it, and I was like, I'm really glad that people can't just like go on my social media. One, I don't have my legal name on most of my social media.
Oh yeah, no, most of the stuff that is like me being a goofball on the internet is not my name.
That is not connected. I know people who have skills can still find it, but
my Facebook, which is the same Facebook, I've had the same Facebook since I got a Facebook.
Yeah, I've had the same Facebook since I got a Facebook. But also like I haven't touched it since I was 15.
I use it to talk to people.
The only thing I
don't post any. I literally, I rarely post stuff.
The only thing
I use Messenger is what I use.
I don't even use Messenger. I use Facebook for Facebook Marketplace occasionally, because Facebook Marketplace actually is kind of nice.
There's some random stuff you can get.
There's some random, but also cool stuff you can get.
Yeah, well, so I kept seeing the Blue's Clues red chair. And I was like, why do people keep selling replicas of the thinking chair? And
why do so many people have replicas of the thinking chair?
Well, because Steve a couple years back posted the "I'm sorry I left abrupt" video, and a bunch of young millennials cried.
I do remember
I'm gonna
this.
say I'm not gonna say whether or not I cried or not, but all of a sudden a bunch of Blue's Clues stuff kept popping up everywhere.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
TikTok's probably getting banned in news of social media. Sorry, that just was a thing.
Oh yeah,
because they had their first arguments yesterday, and it looks like the Supreme Court is thinking about upholding the law, which I don't think.
Personally, I honestly don't think TikTok is gonna get banned for real.
I hope it doesn't, because I think our government is being a little much.
Just conceptually. I hate TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I don't use it. I don't have an account.
Oh, I have an account.
I refuse to use it.
I don't use it a lot because it sucks so much time. Once you're on it, I will be accidentally on it for way too long than I want to be.
That's why I briefly did use TikTok. not to like post things, but just to like have it because people would like, I have friends that like wanted to send me stuff on TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then I scroll sometimes and I could like feel my brain melting. Like especially because I have ADHD, like I would sit there for hours and I would just like completely lose track of time. And I'm like, this is terrible.
My thought process is that if TikTok gets banned, we're gonna just have something else pop up. Or Facebook and YouTube and
it's probably going to be YouTube
Facebook
and Instagram.
is Instagram.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Facebook and Instagram.
Well,
and
so the thing is that they already have their like shorts, and YouTube has shorts, Facebook and Instagram have reels, and they're already doing the same thing. Most people just upload what they were uploading to TikTok to the other socials. The thing with TikTok though is that there's a lot more niche variety. And you can find it easier because of the way the algorithm works.
That was what I was going to say.
Like, there's a lot of things that I don't think I'd ever see anyone post on the other social medias because there's this anonymity. Yeah, thank you. To posting on TikTok and like, there's a lot of people who like cover their face and stuff and do like, and they're clearly not putting their name out there. And so I think that it's like early Tumblr in the way, like, it's kind of weird, but in a good way, in my opinion, some of the content on there. And it's content that I don't think people would post on their Facebook, right? Because your Facebook has to be you.
Yeah.
So.
If you know my legal name, I do in fact have a Facebook. No, I have not touched it in like literally 10 years. But I think while, you know, YouTube and Instagram and Facebook all have their own, like, infinite scrolling shorts platforms, I think what made TikTok different was its algorithm and how accessible a lot of those things were.
Its algorithm is crazy quick, too. So, like, where YouTube and, well, YouTube is, its algorithm does something similar, but different. It works
It's not
different.
as good.
Yeah. It still pushes things that is generically popular, and it's not as fine-tuned to you unless you really go in and try to make it that way. With TikTok, it would be like you watched one or two of these things. Here's literally everything niche that follows that and recognition of how long you specifically watched that.
I feel like Instagram does it too well, where like I've used Instagram Shorts or whatever a little bit. Mostly because I like watching K-pop videos and I like getting recipes. I find a lot of fun recipes on Instagram.
Yeah,
Shorts.
Instagram is really great for recipes.
For like recipes and stuff, I think it's pretty neat. That's like one of the only reasons why I still like have the app.
Yeah.
Is because I like doing that and I have just like a ton of recipes and stuff and just like resources and also like, you know, when I lived in New York, I would see new restaurants and stuff popping up all the time. And it would be on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, no, that's a cool place that I can visit. And I just have like a ton of stuff saved. And I think Instagram's good for that, but I feel like Instagram's algorithm works a little too well in the sense that, like, I like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know? I like a lot of different things, and I'll watch a lot of different types of things.
Yeah.
But Instagram likes to do this thing where I'll watch, like, exactly, like, one type of video. Like, I think I watched to completion, like, a single, like, a person showing off, like, an outfit they're wearing. And now, like, my entire Instagram feed is just people's clothes.
So, yeah, that's how YouTube does it, too.
And I'm just like, well, I liked one video of it. I would like, I think a couple of videos like this would be fun. But now my entire feed is just people's outfits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did my recipes go? Where did my K-pop videos go? Where did everything else go?
Yeah. You know, like, that's an issue I have, too, is that, like, YouTube... So, I have gone into my YouTube settings and try to, like, because I'm a proponent of being like, stop showing me things I do not care about.
Oh yeah.
So I go into my settings and I constantly have to do that on different social medias.
I hate YouTube Shorts. I have like every extension imaginable that makes me not have to look at YouTube Shorts.
I like YouTube Shorts, but just it's more effort to get what you want to see in a consistent amount. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that has nothing to do with Gunpla. So I want to bring us back to Gunpla.
I'm giving him a manicure right now.
Oh my gosh!
I'm giving him a little manicure.
I'm shaving
off all the little extra mold lines and nubs that are on his hands.
You're trimming his cuticles.
I literally am, because his fingers all have these like really ugly mold lines, and I'm like, why did I not get rid of that? It's so easy to get rid of mold lines and these little nub marks. You just need to scrape it with a knife a little bit and you're like golden. And then maybe sand it down, which I might do, but right now I don't really need to do that. Like the knife is doing most of the work. And because the plastic is dark gray, like it's like doing pretty okay. And so yeah, I'm quite literally just giving him a manicure right now and trimming his cuticles because there's a bunch of ugly mold lines and nubs that I just like didn't think to saw off at the time. And I'm like, wow, truly a rookie mistake. Literally a rookie mistake. Or I'm like, oh my god. It's pretty nice. I've really been in the like gunpla finishing mode because just on like my personal time, I've finally started unpacking a lot of my finished gunpla.
Yep.
I know I've been moved for like about a month now, but it's taken this long to like actually start unpacking my finished gunpla just because I have so many. It's kind of crazy. I have so
My
many.
house is filled with tiny robot things.
Yeah.
Because my wife is the same.
I
Like
fully
literally
understand.
whole rows of plastic guys are everywhere.
That's what
How
it's
does
like.
Bruno feel about all the plastic guys?
Bruno can't say anything to me because he has an entire room dedicated to card games, okay?
Okay.
So he can't say anything to me.
So, funny thing with me, so when Paige first moved in with me, because at that point I still had most of my stuff in boxes because I've never had good storage solutions. All of a sudden, my room literally just everything was covering like all my boxes, so I couldn't get into them, and it was just robots everywhere. And it was like such a culture shock for me that I was just like, there's robots on everything. Is this my life now?
Yeah.
It was like kind of scary at first. I was like, ah! Now they all get displayed in proper areas.
So my gunpla is pretty self-contained to my hobby room.
See, I don't have a big enough house to do that.
My gunpla is pretty self-contained to my hobby room, which is fine. But yeah, because I've been unpacking my gunpla, I realized there's like several kits that I have that like are functionally, they're mostly kits that I built on stream that are functionally like built, but it's just I haven't done all the little finishing things yet.
Yeah.
Like sawing off mold lines and like gluing some bits together that like just to remove the like ugly kind of joining lines and like sanding it down and panel lining and all of that little finishing stuff. So I've just been doing that to like several kits over the past week or so.
Compared to when you first started building stuff with us to now, what is something you think what's the most important thing you've learned?
Oh man, there's a lot of things that I've learned in general. Mostly, I think the number one thing that I mentioned before is that glue is okay.
Yeah.
I used to be like, glue goes against the idea of gunpla. I think it's wrong and I shouldn't touch it.
I'm pretty sure my wife still thinks that way, but like...
And I think it's kind of valid because one of the nice things about gunpla is that you don't need glue.
Yeah.
Which is really great, and I think that's cool conceptually, but just now that I'm like, just to like neaten things up and make everything look nice, a little bit of glue is kind of nice. I don't like fully gluing my kits together. I think that's bad. I don't want them like locked in position, except for
you need the
Barbatorus.
posability and stuff too.
Except for Barbatorus. I hate posing Barbatorus. I literally glued that thing in place because I'm like, it is never moving again. I'm never going through this ever again. So that guy's glued in place. But really, for the most part, it's little things like you can kind of see some of the like joint. It's kind of, well, you don't see it as much on a perfect grade because it's very well built. But on a lot of more normal kits, there will be pieces that come together and you'll see like joining lines where it's like technically it should be like one single piece of armor, but it just comes in two pieces just because that's how it came.
Yeah.
And you you can like glue them together and sand it down so that you don't see those lines anymore.
Yeah.
And just like, I think the main thing I learned is the difference that a lot of this little finishing stuff makes. Like, just sawing off mold lines and nubs and standing out stress marks and panel lining, and all of that makes such a huge difference. And like getting rid of those join lines, makes such a huge difference in the appearance of gunpla, because it's like not something you super notice when you first get started, but then as you get more into it, you're like, well, this doesn't like look like how it looks on the box.
Yeah.
And it's because those are built by professionals that like put in all that extra effort to make it look nice and make it stand out. And now I'm like, well, now I kind of like, now I do that and I notice the difference. And it really does make a huge difference, at least to me. Maybe if you're not like as super into it, truly, a lot of this stuff probably doesn't make sense. Like I can assure you, like most people, the average person that looked at the unicorn as it's been in its little glass case probably didn't notice all of these little details that that have been driving me up a wall when I look at it. But it still is like, it makes a difference, at least to me. It makes a difference, at least to me. And it just looks nicer when you do all of that when you put all that extra effort in there, where it like doesn't seem like it's worth it, but it is. And just like all the like, honestly, the bulk of effort on gunpla tends to be on finishing it, like doing the little like finishing details. Is probably where the bulk of effort goes, depending on the kit, obviously. Like this perfect grade was quite difficult just itself to build. That's probably where the most of the effort went, but for most things, like a lot of master grades and real grades and stuff like that, most of the effort will go in the finishing, because building the kit is one thing, but making it actually look a lot nicer is another thing, because you have to sit here and give them manicures like I am right now, which takes a lot of time, and it's a lot more effort than just slapping pieces of plastic together.
Are there any other kits that you might want to do some refurbishing on stream then?
Mostly that kind of stuff. There's not really any other kits I've built that are in the store. Most of the other kits, that's kind of what I've been doing a little bit on my own.
Okay.
It's something I do on my own to my own kits sometimes. Just like fixing them, especially now that I've been unboxing all of my old Gundam. Because, you know, when I was in my apartment, I like opened them, I displayed them, I put them where they were, and that's just where they've been like the entire time I've lived in my apartment.
Yeah.
And now that I'm reopening them, I'm like, oh, this guy's actually like unfinished. And I'm like, I should really finish that. And so that's what I've kind of been doing. And I've mentioned this before, but to be quite honest, I don't think this is the most interesting content-wise. Just because it's like, well, I've been sitting here just shaving, and it's not really something that you can condense for the sake of content. Like, truly, I've just been sitting here for, like, the past 15 minutes shaving mold lines off of his fingers, which is not that
I
visually
I think it's a good teaching tool. Like, I actually am literally, like, even though I could zoom in more, I think that, like, you can see what you're doing really clearly.
That's good. Because I've been, like, trying to be at least, like, in frame with everything so you, like, know what's happening.
That is something historically that I've had to be like, Salem, your hands are not in frame.
Yeah, that's a thing that I've learned a lot when it comes to streaming. That, like...
I also try to position the camera in a way where you wouldn't have to lean forward too much to have your hands in stream, because I remembered that was an issue that we've had in the past.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just something I've gotten better at in general, as I've just... Now, as of this year, it's 3 years. And now I feel like a lot more... It's something I do more inherently when I'm streaming, where I'm like...
3 years old.
I know, right?
Oh my
where
God.
I, like, think about it a lot more, that, like, it comes more naturally, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Just, like, making sure I'm in frame is something that comes more naturally to me now. It's not something I have to actively think about. It's, like, now in my brain, I know what the, like, framing box is, and I just kind of naturally stay within it, versus, like, having to adjust myself to be in it. For the most part, at least. Obviously, sometimes when I'm doing certain things, I'll be a little out of frame without noticing, just because it's like a high precision kind of a task. But for the most part, I've gotten a lot better at it. But yeah, it's something that I do.
If you're watching and Salem is ever out of frame, just yell at her in
just
chat.
call me out.
Just be like, Salem, we can't see what you're doing. How dare you?
I know.
How dare you? We're supposed to be able to watch this.
I know, that does, if I'm not in frame, that kind of does defeat the point of it all.
I try to check in, like, I try to pop in and check in to make sure how things are going every now and then. So, my Saturdays are usually me taking a bunch of photography for the store. So it's hard to be able to, like, be 100% around all the time, especially when you're not here. This Saturday, though, we have a big event and I can take photos of it later. So that's why I'm here and able to kind of
Yay.
do the stream like old times.
Yay.
Like the first whole year of the stream, it's just you and I talking.
Mm-hmm. Which is quite nice, actually. I guess this is kind of the first stream of... This is the first stream of 2025.
This is like literally how we started. Was you hunched over a gunpla and I distracting you.
Which is...
And talking about things that have nothing to do with gunpla.
Honestly, I spend a lot of time on this stream not talking about gunpla.
We used to talk about food a lot, but that's, I think, because everyone can talk about food, and so the chat would start talking about food.
And then everyone,
that's the brunch part of Brunch and Build.
I do try and include the brunch part of Brunch and Build.
Do you still ask everybody what they've eaten for breakfast?
Oh my god, I should do that again.
Hey everybody, if you're watching, what did you eat for breakfast today?
Yeah, what did you have for breakfast today? I mentioned earlier, I had a cookie, which is not a good breakfast.
I had
it's what
a couple
had.
sips of a coffee, which is by Salem right now.
Oh, I'm looking at it. It's the Dunkin' Donuts one.
No, it's not the Dunkin' Donuts
Oh
one.
my god, wait.
It's the yellow cup. Like, I don't drink Dunkin'. No. I don't drink most
Well, there is
chains.
a Dunkin' cup, and then there's another
it's the
fancier looking coffee cup.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's a local place, literally right down the street.
Oh, that's cool.
So instead of going to Dunkin' across the street, I take an extra minute or two to drive to this other place that is a little hole in the wall. It is both a coffee shop and a brewery.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so it's Elvarium. They're really great. Not sponsored. Like we haven't even worked with them. I'm trying to get us to work with them, but we haven't done anything with them. But they have their brewery, which is like an upper, like really nice brewery, and then they also have a cafe. And that cafe, and they're kind of operated as two separate entities. But the cafe is really yummy coffee, and that's usually where I get my morning cup of coffee / latte.
Nice.
It's mostly lattes. I drink a lot of lattes. I drink way too much milk for someone who's an adult, honestly.
Though I feel like a brewery / coffee house is a good store sponsorship, but not for me because I don't drink and I don't like coffee. But it would be really funny though to be like, yes, I fully support and love this brewery / coffee house that I don't participate in, but I'm sure it's really nice. I say that. I do like coffee.
We're not sponsored by anything.
We're not sponsored by anything.
I need to, because we keep saying that word, so we have to be like, hey, reminder, we're not sponsored by anything.
If you'd like to sponsor us, though, please do. I like Gundam. Buy me more Gundam.
Yeah, if you sponsor us, all the money will go to all of our lovely people who do stuff for us. Literally, actually. Right now, a lot of people are mostly doing this on volunteering because they're amazing and like playing games and don't care about playing games on camera. I love most of our stream team. If you sponsor us, the money will go to them before it even touches me. Like, unless it's like to buy like a cool thing for people to stream and play with, it will go to the people on screen.
Sponsor us to buy that cursed coin.
What?
The game that
I
was opening yesterday, Doom Song.
Yeah, Doom Song. Yeah, there's a cool game. We're gonna make a video about it. That'll be okay. So there's a cool game that we're gonna be making a small video on, a reel, a short, because it's YouTube. Well, it's gonna go on our Facebook and Instagram. Too. Probably not YouTube because it's talking about a product we're selling, and I try not to put the more like ad heavy videos on YouTube. But there's a cool game coming out, and if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you'll be able to see it.
And as an indie RPG enthusiast, I think it's really cool, and I'm very excited for it. And so, if you sponsor us, we can buy the cool cursed coin that it has, because there's a big coin flipping mechanic in the game. So for like the deluxe editions, it comes with this really cool little metal coin that has like a really cool design on it that the creator himself
paid witches to curse.
Yeah, contracted witches to curse so that it gets the worst result in the funniest moments. I'm like, I want it so bad.
I don't want to touch them because I don't mess with that.
I want it so bad. I love the idea of like, I'm not really much of an occult person, but I love the concept of it all. I love that it's out there and that it exists, and I like the kind of novelty of it all, I guess. But like I wouldn't say I'm like a disbeliever, like but I'm not like a hardcore believer either. Like
That's fine.
I don't like super believe in that stuff, but I think it's fine to entertain it, and I think it's fun to entertain it.
So like, I am an occultist, I guess is the best way you can say that, because I'm pagan, and while there's things that I definitely like think are not real, there's things that I don't mess with, and that's where I'm on with that.
Yeah, I think
I'm a filthy heathen.
the one thing I think I would never personally mess with is a Ouija board. Those things scare the hell out of me.
I mean, they're made by Hasbro, so I don't know.
Well, I know. Like, modern ones are like, I know, they're made by Hasbro. But for the most part, I don't like Ouija boards because they freak me out, and I feel like that's a little bit too close to, like, okay, listen, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts. I mean, actually, I kind of do believe in ghosts. I was raised in suburban New England, which is like, listen,
Connecticut's mad haunted. I don't know what you're talking about.
Connecticut is mad haunted. And so I'm like, okay.
Hopefully they didn't hear me taking a sip of my coffee. That sounded loud in my ears. Sorry if you heard that, everybody.
We're gonna cut this tape off screen because I'm doing something a little dangerous.
In this moment of Salem doing something off screen, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please and thank you. I'm just being a shill today.
I mean, that is kind of what your job is.
Well, it's also like most of our content isn't really shilly because most of the people are just having fun and I'm recording it. And so I try not to hassle our stream members to be shills. Usually I'm in the comments being like, comment, and subscribe. But like also the way YouTube works, for some reason you really have to beg your audience to do the thing. So I'm begging you, mainly because I really, my goal this year, and I wanted to get it done before summer, is for us to reach 500 subscribers and maintain that, because I really want to get partner, whatever, YouTube, whatever, partner thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Someone has commented, what model is this and how did it break? So it's not broken. It's being refurbished because it's old. It's about 3 years old at this point because that's how old the stream is. We're refurbishing it because it's been on display for a while and it was one of Salem's first kits. And so there's things that could be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not really like broken. It's more just like, it's a little worse for wear. Just doing like a lot of minor repairs, just like things that are like, feel like they're falling apart a little bit and things like that, and just like making it look nicer, because I built this 3 years ago when I was still pretty new to the hobby, and there's a lot of things that I've learned about gunpla since then. Mm-hmm. And so, by the way, this is a perfect grade unicorn, and so I'm kind of just applying a lot of the things that I have learned and just cleaning it up and making it look nicer. And
we can't see his face.
Oh yeah.
Hey, there he is.
This is the Gundam surgery episode where I feel I think that's also, I've still been watching House MD nonstop. Mm-hmm. Not nonstop, like it's not like I am kind of binging it, but it's like something I put on in the background a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like almost done with season 6 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have been going through it, because I think last time we talked, which was recently, you were like on season 2 or 3.
Yeah, like not that long ago. I think I've only been watching it for like a month.
Okay.
Like less than a month probably that I've been watching. So since I started watching House, I'm on season 6, and it's a medical drama. It's House MD. It's really good, actually. I feel like that's the thing that people...
House was one of the better... So when it was airing,
it had like critical acclaim.
Popular.
Yeah, it was very popular, and it had like the critical acclaim. But I feel like these days, people kind of just meme on it a lot, as they should. There's a lot of really funny, like, stupid little things that happen in House.
But, like, it's one of those things that, like, it's funny out of context, but if you like what, like, that, there's a lot of things in context, and because, like, that are still funny, but make sense in the context, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And, like, as someone that had, like, never watched House before, I kind of have only seen a lot of those out of context things, and I was like, oh, haha, it's House. But then I actually watched the show, and I'm like, wait, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is an insanely good show.
TV used to have to be really good to maintain its spot on TV. Did you know that?
Oh my god, no way. No way.
Well,
TV
so
had
it's
to
not
be
so much
good?
anymore because streaming services and things are just much more available.
A lot more, you can just toss whatever garbage out there.
And, like,
without having
it
to
lets
pay
people
for,
catch
like-
up. So things that last a lot longer now because people can catch up while something is airing and then join. And so new seasons tend to usually always have fresh viewers. Which is really good for TV overall. It's why production values have gone way up and we have streaming service and blah, 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 blah. TV's made like movies now, which is cool. But way back when, before we had a bunch of streaming services, TV was basically you would get your first season. If you didn't do well, you were canceled. After the first season, you would get contracted for 2 more seasons. And then a lot of shows got canceled either halfway through season 2 because you just didn't pull the viewership that was in the contract because some viewership contracts are insane, or they just you didn't do well enough for them to like if you weren't like a box office hit, you would get canceled at season 3, and then things that did well got another 2 seasons, and most things are only 5 seasons. It's things like Supernatural and like Grey's Anatomy, because both of those started the same year before streaming services. They are not only were they box office hits, but they were able to pull in later on of so many people from streaming services that made them now the long 12 plus seasons that they are. Sorry. I really like TV,
No,
everybody.
I love when Heather talks about like entertainment industry stuff, because that's not something I'm familiar with, but it's something that you are.
I went to school for that. I went to school for technically broadcasting, because that's if you have a communications degree, you mainly focus on broadcasting if you're doing TV, which is cool and all. But I minored in film because I like TV. I just specifically really like TV. Movies are alright.
And that's really cool. I think like
I just like serialized content. I devour serialized content.
I think me too. I think I quite like I like shows. I mean, as we all know, I'm a big anime person. I like slightly longer. I don't like super long running things.
Which is why I can't get you to watch One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely not. I know people
You
have been
would
trying.
like it.
I know.
And you and Paige would talk about it way too much, probably.
100% would. And like, truly,
You're watching all of House, but I'm like, hey, where are you in One Piece? I haven't.
that's because One Piece is longer than House, okay?
One Piece? Okay. So, actually, because the episodes are like actually only 22 minutes long, while there's a lot of them, it's a very fast watch. And I know a lot of people who watch Critical Role, and they're like have watched all of the campaigns of the different campaigns of Critical Role, and I'm like, One Piece is less than that. And so anyone who looks at me who's a big like D&D head and watches Critical Role, they get real quiet after that, and I'm like, yeah, So like, don't let episode length deter you because they're really short. Or not length. Episode amount deter you because they're like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And part of that 22 minutes is the opening and ending. So if you just skip that, it's closer to like 15 in my opinion.
That's like kind of how I get through anime. I love, like, I have this like down to a science. Like the average anime is 12 episodes, and that's 4 hours of content. If you skip the opening and ending, that's 4 hours. You can I can blitz through an entire season of anime in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because that's how long it takes. And I know that applies to One Piece too. I know, man.
If you're listening, because it says we have 7 viewers, which hello 7 people who are here. What do you like watching? Oh, it's 6 now. Someone left, cries. But what do you all like watching?
Yeah, no one wants to listen to me talking about House MD.
No, I think they do because they're here. Except that one person. That one person who just left.
But it's not going to stop me from talking about House MD. I kind of like it because also it's one of those things harkens back to like back before streaming services. Not most people did not watch every single episode of a TV show.
Yeah, because they like that's like super dedication. Some people actually,
unless you could like DVR it most
did.
of the time. There are people who did,
but it would be one show that they watched. So not every show had people who were that dedicated. You know what I mean?
Like the average House viewer does not watch every single episode. And thus, it's like, I think part of what makes it like the perfect background show, because there's a lot of episodes that are just like what we would consider like filler.
That's like
most television.
Show
which is most television.
Especially near the holiday season.
I don't know where on earth this purple even came from. I don't know if you guys can super see it, but there's these like purple streaks on here, and I'm like, I have no idea where it came from. What even is this? Who did this to you, Mr. Unicorn? But yeah, it's kind of funky. I kind of like that because again, I'm not someone that likes watching super long things. I like anime. I like especially like tight 12 to 24% anime. You get the story, you knock out the whole story, and you're like done. I'm like, this is great. I've had a great time right now. But House is kind of nice. I like a lot of the filler stuff in House because it's like the characters in House are so well written.
Yeah, but they're also all Sherlock Holmes.
Only House is Sherlock Holmes.
Wilson is Watson.
Wilson is Watson.
But I'm saying Sherlock Holmes like the product.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it kind of like
the pilot to me. So I have because I also like months ago started watching a little bit of House, but I didn't do what you're doing. So the pilot to me, they use Irene Adler, but like she never comes up again ever again. So they can't use the name. And so, what's her face? The person who's ahead of the hospital.
Cuddy?
Yeah, Cuddy. She's Irene Adler. She becomes Irene Adler.
She is. I would say she's the Irene
But
Adler.
they make a patient Irene Adler in the pilot, and they should not have done that because Cuddy is basically Irene Adler.
But also
sorry, I really like Sherlock Holmes.
No, I love Sherlock Holmes, and I actually like. I know they're all like just like Sherlock Holmes archetype characters, but I think they actually expand a lot more beyond that.
Yeah, for sure. So here's my opinion and why I kind of get into like, well, yeah, it's Sherlock Holmes. I think Sherlock Holmes is one of the best archetypal stories that has ever been written. Conan Doyle would hate me for that because he hates
Sherlock
his own
Holmes.
work. Well, so he thinks it was nothing but
it's too popular. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that it was too popular. It wasn't like he was a hipster about it. Because it was kind of part of it, but it's specifically because he thought that it was beneath him, but it made money because the drama. He really wanted to be a sci-fi writer, and he was really bad at writing sci-fi.
Yeah.
So he wrote the best crime series in all time, and hated it because he made it super dramatic and thinly veiled gay. Because fun fact, Sherlock Holmes has a lot of gay, and if you read and know historical stuff about Sherlock Holmes or about queer culture and things that have happened with individuals throughout time in that specific time period, it's not even like in today's world you would think it's like a pretty heavily veiled. It's not even. It's kind of like actually right there in your face. Yet, modern day interpretations do not go there, and it kind of sucks.
Which kind of sucks.
Because Conan Doyle was really good friends with, what's his name?
Oscar Wilde.
Yes.
Who was openly queer, which is pretty sick.
Like, they were really good friends. And while it's hard to assume anything about Doyle specifically, it's very clear that he understands and knew the situation and like was friends with people who were queer, and it is very prevalent in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I love Sherlock Holmes a lot.
Sherlock Holmes is so nice.
And most things that are related or spins of Sherlock Holmes usually do really well, because just the general thought of it is just it's really well written and it's really good stories. It's just really funny that the writer hates it because he didn't like writing drama, even though he was really good at writing drama.
Yeah. But I think Sherlock Holmes 1 has really good character archetypes, and because the character archetypes in Sherlock Holmes are so good, it's so easy to build off of them.
They're multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's so, like, usually archetypes are very, because, like, before Sherlock Holmes, they weren't archetypes. They're archetypes now because we use them so much. But there wasn't a lot that was that multifaceted character writing-wise. And, like, here you are, you have this potentially, because, like, back then,
You know, the troubled genius.
yeah, it's like the potentially like autistic, troubled genius abuses drugs. Like, he's very flawed, but also still kind of the hero. Like, he's like one of the original anti-hero type characters, but this was like predates anti-hero and what anti-hero has become today. He's not quite what we consider an anti-hero today.
But he's also like the prototype for like an unlikable protagonist.
Yeah. He's like one of the very first unlikable protagonists we have, and he's so like interesting, and he just in general really like.
Because up till that point, a lot of like when it comes to protagonists, it's always like it's like very hero. Like, it's someone you want to root for. It's very aspirational.
And Sherlock is just kind of not nice.
No, he kind of sucks to most of the people in his life.
Even to John, which like,
he especially
John
sucks to John.
What's so funny is that John is so, because they're written by John.
Yeah,
I believe.
because John is Conan Doyle's self.
Yeah, and like it's so interesting.
And he's just like a nice guy. John Watson is just a nice guy. He's Sherlock's foil. He's the one who makes Sherlock palatable, because Sherlock cannot function as a person on his own.
Okay, sorry. I learned this at a convention, because there's people who are actually like historical people, like went to school for like history and stuff, and they did a whole thing on Sherlock Holmes. And this goes back to the like, oh, by the way, Sherlock Holmes is gay. During history, there was like the I'm not a historical person, so I'm not going to have any correct names for this. But at the time of like the writing of Sherlock Holmes and that time period, they were like the gay trials, where they were like called like trials of indecency or whatever, sodomy or whatever. It was just like really homophobic. And Sherlock Holmes, he stops writing it altogether. And when he continues writing Sherlock Holmes again, he says that they took a trip to, I think, Bermuda or another country. They went out of the country, and the country that is used was known at the time to being like more queer friendly. And yeah, that's like actual, like what I was talking about, how like there's evidence in texts that are really like, oh, you're not being like quiet, like, or subtle here. Like there's just stuff that is said that like if you were someone at the time and experienced those life things, you would understand what is meant. So it's just really interesting.
And yeah, I love Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And I love how
sorry, this is like one of my special interests. TV and Sherlock Holmes.
Heather has been activated. No, it's fun though. I like listening, because I like Sherlock Holmes. I've read a lot of the old Sherlock Holmes novels. I have a few of them. And I think
I have whole collections worth, because I know Brunch and Build released that really thick collection of all of them. I believe I have that one.
That's cool. I have like because I buy a lot of my books secondhand. I just have like a few copies of various Sherlock Holmes stories that are fucking cool. I know I have Hounds of Baskerville, the classic. I know I have, what was it? Something Falls. Like the one where Sherlock dies.
Yeah.
I
I'm trying to remember.
forgot what it was.
So, the BBC Sherlock series, they're all named after it, and so I'm trying to, like, my brain is trying to activate through knowing the names of that.
I also do kind of love when people, can I say,
What?
I was gonna say bastardize?
Yeah, you're fine.
Because that's like a real word.
Yeah, you're using
I'm not using it in the derogatory way.
Yeah, you're not using it in a...
In a derogatory way. It's
Plus,
like
you just said it anyways.
That is true, I did say it anyway. But I kind of do like when people bastardize Sherlock Holmes as a concept. I have like a soft spot for anime adaptations of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my god. I have not watched...
Because they go crazy with it.
Because they're anime.
Yeah.
Anime doesn't know how not to go crazy with anything. It's all extremes. All the time.
I guess it depends. There's like a lot of slice of life anime out
They still get crazy.
Depending, but
that deer one, the one with that was a meme.
Well, that's comedy. That was not slice of life.
But that was also a slice of life. Oh my god, no, it was slice of life, but also she happens to be a deer.
Well, yeah, that's the one that my dear friend Nokotan. That one's. It's technically slice of life, but it's slice of life comedy.
Now I have the song stuck in my head.
It's supposed to be kind of crazy, wacky, funny,
but
absurd.
Like, even ones that don't go as crazy as like one of the characters is a deer, like they get weird. All of them.
I wouldn't say
Fruits Baskets is a slice of life.
Fruits Basket is a slice of life.
They turn into animals.
They do turn into animals. But that's not the point, okay?
I'm just saying, you can't tell me anime doesn't get like in our sensibilities of like Americans, right?
Maybe
you can't tell me their
desensitized.
media in comparison to ours doesn't get crazy.
Maybe it's because I'm desensitized. So there are some really good.
I've been watching anime since middle school. I'm desensitized too. I love anime, but like I just also can compare it to our media and what normal for the United States versus what is made overseas. It gets wild.
They got their grounded romances. There's some like normal grounded romances, but for the most part it does get kind of crazy with it. And there are like a lot of the anime adaptations of Sherlock Holmes are genuinely great. There's one that I love that's called Moriarty the Patriot.
Ooh.
Where the protagonist is Moriarty.
Okay.
And, like, honestly, toss most Sherlock lore out the window. That's, like, not the point of this series. It's not exactly there to be a faithful adaptation.
Well, because, they're making the main character Moriarty.
They're making the main character Moriarty. He's still a crime consultant, right? Like, they keep that part of him, and they kind of morph him with Sherlock in the sense that he does a lot of bad things because he's a crime consultant, but they do sanitize him a lot so that he is like a lot. They call him Moriarty the Patriot because a main theme of the show is like class warfare.
Okay.
Because
this sounds wild.
It is wild. It's really good. It's crazy. Moriarty is like it does like reference a lot of original Sherlock lore where like Moriarty is an orphan and he has his tragic backstory, and this Moriarty has his like tragic orphan backstory, but in this one he has
anime loves that.
They sure do. He's got like siblings, and his like house burns down in a fire, and it's crazy. But basically, Moriarty gets radicalized against the upper class, despite kind of being one himself. Like he is like it's still set in like Victorian London kind of a setting. But Moriarty himself is technically, he is nobility, but he's adopted nobility. Where he still has his whole orphan backstory, but he gets adopted by a noble house. But then a lot of bad things happen to him, which are a little bit spoilers, so I'm not going to mention in case you ever want to watch the show.
Okay.
But he gets radicalized against nobility. And now he is a crime consultant that tries to get back at the nobility. So basically, if any like common folk get wronged by the nobility, he's like, I will help you commit the perfect crime to get back at them. Or like, if nobility is committing a crime, like one of the first, it's not a spoiler because it's literally one of the first episodes, but there's like a noble who's like killing street boys. Who's like kidnapping and murdering basically homeless children. And Moriarty like 40 chesses this guy. Definitely commits several crimes himself. Well, like he orchestrates several crimes himself, but the goal is to like ruin this guy and basically kill this
very
other guy.
anti-hero is
Very
what I'm hearing.
he's still very anti-hero.
So someone is personally Hannah is
Yeah.
personally I'm a bit soft for Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century.
Cyborg Watson sounds insane. I love that. And yeah, Moriarty the Patriot is pretty sick. It's like Moriarty is an anti-hero. It's a lot about class warfare. Sherlock is in it too, but he's just kind of goofy. I also love anime.
Sherlock, I can see why they would do that with Sherlock, make him kind of goofy.
He's a little
What is his role?
He still is there. He's still Moriarty's arch nemesis because he's the police, and Moriarty is like commits crimes.
Okay.
But Sherlock and Moriarty's relationship is a little different, where they're like technically nemesises, but they're also kind of not. Sherlock is a little bit like almost comic relief in a sense, but he actually does do things in the story. But it's like he is trying to investigate Moriarty, but doesn't know that Moriarty is the one behind what's happening.
Okay.
And in this, Sherlock is a little bit more stupid, but he's got his moments. He actually is still like the tragic genius a little bit, but it's a little different where he still has to be a step behind Moriarty because Moriarty's the protagonist.
Technically, the way Sherlock is written, he is usually a step behind Moriarty because, like, the whole point is that Moriarty is the only person who can match his intelligence.
Which is a little bit how this series is too, but I think in this one Sherlock's a little dumber. Sherlock's definitely a little dumber and is a little bit more comic relief-ish, but he is still pretty cool. And I love anime adaptations of Sherlock Holmes because I know Sir Arthur Conan Doyle would hate them. Like, I know that this Sherlock is like the antithesis to whatever Conan Doyle was ever intending for this character. And I think that's beautiful. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's pretty good. As long as you're okay with them throwing like Sherlock lore out the window.
I mean, if I'm walking into something and I know that it's not going to be like the thing,
it's not going to be a perfect adaptation even a little bit.
Like,
they're not even
attempting. That's just what
one.
anime does.
That's just what it does. But it's actually really well done, and it does a lot of really cool like class commentary.
Again from Hannah. Long story short is Sherlock gets brought. Oh, you can read it. Yeah,
Sherlock gets brought into the far-off future, and Watson was preserved and put in a cyborg body, and he solves crime with a Lestrade, descendant of the original Lestrade. That's sick. I want to watch that. I want Cyborg Watson. I think that's really funny. I love when people just go crazy with adaptations of Sherlock. Because you get a lot of really cool and interesting things. Like Sherlock in the 22nd century, where Cyborg
Watson!
With Cyborg Watson and a descendant of Lestrade, but there's still crime. They haven't gotten rid of crime yet.
I don't think anyone will ever... So, here's my, like, I guess, cynical point of view. I don't think we can ever get rid of crime.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be the bad apples.
It's not even just bad apples. I just think, like, as long as you have something so... Like every type of thing that we ever do will have to be systematic because, like, humans can't function without structure very well. We always, no matter what we do, create structure. And there will always be people who don't like that structure and then go against it, which is technically crime.
That
of
is
the structure.
True. Yeah. Tell you what, yeah, please. Oh my god, because it was released from like 2001. Please, I would love to. It would
probably, yeah, anything that's from the future that is like from early 2000s feels so dated.
I love like retrofuturism. I really do. Like, I like a lot of 70s sci-fi, like old sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Old sci-fi is so fun because they're like in the distant year of 2002. I think about, that's part of why I love Evangelion.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Evangelion, fun fact, also this year is the 30-year anniversary of when Evangelion first aired. Because it aired in 1995.
Ooh. Fun fact, this year I turned 30. I was also made in 1990.
You're the same age as Evangelion.
I'm the same. It's a show
You
that I
should tell
don't
Paige.
like historically. So
you should
it's
tell
really funny.
Paige. Maybe.
Paige knows. Paige is the same age as me. She's 6 months younger.
You guys are the same age as Evangelion. But yeah, Ava turns 30 this year, and that's one of the things I love about Evangelion, because it's set in 2015. Evangelion came out in like the 90s, but the whole show is set from like 2015 to 2018. And it's very funny to look at and be like, in the distant year of 2015. And the thing that I like about Evangelion is it's very pessimistic with the retrofuturism.
Yeah.
I also kind of like Gundam's brand of retrofuturism, where they just like make up their own timeline. Like, it doesn't even map. Like, Gundam timelines do not, like, they vaguely map to, like, our sense of time.
Yeah.
But they also really don't. Because Gundam has Earth. Like, Earth as an entity does exist in Gundam, but Earth is, like, depending on which Gundam series you watch, is, like, destroyed.
Yeah.
Because Gundam is pretty close.
Well, because it's supposed to be so futuristic that we've ruined everything and we're in space now.
That's basically it. But also, depending on the Gundam series, there are still people on Earth.
We
is
are
just, like,
kind of trajectory to go there.
Yeah.
That is kind of the human trajectory, is to ruin everything here and go in space.
Yeah, except there's still all the people that get left behind on Earth that can't afford to go into space.
Oh yeah, we're still there. We're there. We're like
Which
at
is
the
exactly
very start
what's
of that
happening.
issue.
It's why
Everything is bad.
I've talked about this at length. It's why I hate Elon Musk and everything that rich people are doing for space. Despite being like a big astronomy person.
Thanks for stopping in and watching.
Thank you. Have fun. I'll probably see you later then. Because I'm probably going to stop by robotics too. I started mentoring my high school robotics team.
I know so many people who do that. Well, I'm friends with so many engineers.
That
like,
is
so
true,
many.
you are.
And it's really funny because I am not at all. Like, you can say I'm kind of a technician because, like, I do all the camera and behind-the-scenes stuff, but, like, I don't make them.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I barely know computers. Like, I can run a stream and do stuff on the computer, but, like, if my computer starts breaking, I'm like, I have no idea what's wrong with this thing. I have to, like, look it up.
That's what everyone does, honestly.
That's what I'm told. Because,
even people
like,
who do it professionally, a lot of what they do is they look up their problems.
Like, because I know a lot of engineers, a lot of them, like, coding is a big thing. And when I'm trying to do, like, HTML for the store's website, and I'm like, I don't know anything about coding. Like, I know very, very little. And I complain about having to look stuff up and not feeling like I actually am a good, like, coder. All of the professionals I know laugh at me and say, yeah, no, that's just what professionals do. We look everything up. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
like,
many things.
Everything is just looked up.
Everything truly is just looked up. There's no shame in that because everyone does it. It's just not everyone knows every single thing. That's like impossible. But yeah. What was I saying about engineering?
You're mentoring.
Oh yeah, I'm mentoring my high school robotics team, which is pretty nice. You know what happened? I attended a meeting this week. It was nice. It was pretty sick to see all of my old robotics teachers and stuff, and they're, it's still insane to see like my robotics coach having gray hair now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? Since when did that happen? But also like, I was just casually talking to one of the students and just asked me like, oh yeah, I was an alumni and I already graduated, I'm an alumni of the team in the school and stuff. Wow. And they're like, oh yeah, when did you graduate? I don't consider myself particularly old. I'm still young. I'm in my 20s. I'm
older than you.
I know. I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm super old. I don't really think I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
But I told this person my graduation year, this teenager my graduation year, and she looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I'm like, what?
Welcome to getting old. So I I have a superpower, and it's I don't care. So when people try to make me feel old, I don't, it doesn't faze me. I make people feel like children, and they hate it. That's my superpower, is that I'm untouchable, and I will just turn it back on them and be like, well, you're just a baby. Like, oh my god, look at you, such a little kid. And then they get all mad because they want to be adults so bad, but they call everybody old.
That is true. That's what my brothers are like.
Oh, we're like that. So the current cast for Tabletop Travel Agency, one of them, David, he's like early 20s, and everyone else on the table is older than him. Like the youngest, and from him, the youngest is 25. And so when he when we all will start talking about things, and he'll get so like, I don't know what you're talking about, you people old, and we all just it's turned into us just dogging on him for being a baby, and he hates it. It's so funny.
Haha, little baby.
Yeah,
oh my God.
literally, that's all you have to do, and it will and they will leave you alone.
Yeah, I don't know how ethically I can do that to teenagers I'm supposed to be mentoring.
I mean, that's a type of mentorship, letting them know that they're children.
That is true.
And that the reason why you're there is because you need to mentor them because they can't be trusted alone.
Yeah.
You're so little. You need me to help you.
Little. I will help you.
I'm evil.
That's so... I'm used to having, like... The thing is, I can turn it back on my siblings. Mm-hmm. Because I'm used to having siblings that are, like... 6 to 8 years younger than me, and so I'm like, listen, you can make fun of me for being old, but I'm the one that knows how to do things.
Since like December, I've been singing the Bo Burnham "I'm Turning 30," and I know Bo's is more distraught, but like I've been like, I'm turning. It's just, I only have until I turn 30 to sing this. I've been singing it for like the last couple of years, and Paige would yell at me being like, you're not even close yet. So I have these next like 2 months, because my birthday's in March, to have this be relevant in my life, and I'm so excited.
Let's go.
Because 22 by Taylor Swift came out, I think when I was 23. I was so mad.
I'm turning 22. I
love songs that are like the age that you're turning. It's great.
I loved when I turned 17, I blasted Dancing Queen.
It's just
young and sweet. Only 17.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Everyone should be able to vibe to music about the age that they are turning.
Yes. It's very fun. But yeah, I'm like, I don't feel old. I don't think I'm old.
You're not old.
I'm not.
I'm not old.
None of us are old. We're all still kids.
I'm starting to like feel old just from society's perspective, but also like in the same regard, I know
guess
I'm not
legally
old.
I can't date Leonardo DiCaprio anymore.
That's the out of all the memes that have come for Leo, like he has fallen from grace.
Which is so funny because, you know, one of my DVD gets that I got recently, as you guys may know, I'm really into collecting like physical media and DVDs. Mm-hmm. One of my recent DVD gets was 1992 Romeo and Juliet. Like the Leo DiCaprio one where he was Romeo and
they're
that
like
was
in the desert. That's so funny.
Yeah, and
it's to me not a good adaptation.
I love the movie though. It's so good. It's not a good adaptation, but it's really a fun movie.
It's better than She's the Man, though, because that's an adaptation of Twelfth Night, and it's also just really bad.
It's also just not that good of a movie.
Yeah.
But Romeo, I think the official title is Romeo plus Juliet. It's insane. Yeah. It's not a good adaptation, but it's a really fun movie.
You want to know what's a crazy... Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, it's okay.
You want to know what's a crazy adaptation of Romeo and Juliet?
What?
The zombie
Romeo
movie.
and Juliet?
No. The zombie movie that was like, the zombie's name was R, and her name was like Jules.
What?
Yeah, it has Nicholas Hoult in it.
Oh my god, yeah!
That's Romeo and Juliet, but he's a fucking... excuse my language, zombie.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah, Yeah, I noticed it, like, super because they're fighting, but then they fall in love, and, like, it's really weird, and then they realize the zombies, like, still have brains. Like,
It's like such a bad adaptation.
it is,
I didn't
like,
even
a stealth Romeo and Juliet, and,
didn't
like,
even
the movie
register
itself
it.
is a little weird, but, like, I love it. I think it's, like, actually really good,
I haven't seen
like,
that
interesting
movie.
take, and it's refreshing, because it's not just Romeo and Juliet.
I haven't seen that movie.
I also
since
just
was
like zombies, because, like, I like all types of horror and cryptid
I'm a big
stuff.
fan of Shakespeare adaptations. My one thing that I'm like, my one of my favorite pieces of media in general is a manga adaptation of Shakespeare's Henry VI and also Richard III, primarily Richard III, called Requiem of the Rose King. It is one
I
of
think
my.
I've heard of that, either from you or from
It is
somebody
probably
else.
from me because no one knows what this. No, it's like it's not like unpopular. It was popular enough that it got an official English release. Like it got published in English, but it's like not something that's even mildly like popular. It's not something that the average manga or anime fan probably really knows.
Most people don't really. So like, this is kind of sad, and unless there's like some sort of big, like box office or like BBC run of Shakespeare, most people just don't really interact with it unless you're like in high school.
Yeah.
Which like
It's not a
stinks
good
because
place.
Shakespeare is actually really funny.
Yeah, Shakespeare is
The-
actually
the,
quite
um,
good. I like a lot
The
of
fact
Shakespeare
that
stories.
his stuff is allowed in school is really funny because so Shakespeare
many
wrote
sex
his
jokes.
Shakespeare was one of the best writers of all of history. He wrote a lot of his plays for the common folk because for a while theater was seen as blasphemous, and because women couldn't act, and like there was a lot of cross-dressing and like stuff and blah 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 blah. So it was like all of like the original Globe Theater was like in downtown slum area, which like is now there, but it's no longer downtown slum area. It's the theater district of
London.
But like that was like the whole thing, and like while there was seats up high and stuff for like the wealthy people, the bottom seats, those were like what people pay nowadays hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for. Those were considered the bad seats because you had to crane your neck upwards and sit on really uncomfortable benches, and like that was like the poor people seat, and that was what most of the people who were coming and seeing these shows were basically people who didn't have money to afford anything else and like lived in the slums. And so a lot of the jokes and humor are written for like the common folk, and
Like, the
some of
average-
it gets really dirty.
Yeah, like the average person who probably can't read.
Yeah, and like he's like a comedy genius, and like people don't recognize him for that, but there's like so much actual funny things where if you kind of learn what is like, if you take a second to like understand the context of what is
and what
being
they're
said,
actually saying.
it's like sometimes
It's
like
very
oh.
witty.
So like when I was in theater, some of our favorite scenes were Shakespeare scenes that we did because we could be a little, you know, spicy without no one realizing what we were saying. So we would all like, it would be like an inside joke with us of being like, hee hee, we're saying something naughty right now, because that wouldn't be allowed in school.
But it's Shakespeare, so it's okay.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like people don't people like really sleep on Shakespeare as a normal thing, and it's like people need to not sleep on Shakespeare.
There's a lot of good Shakespeare adaptations I like. One of my favorite manga of all time, Requiem of the Rose King, which is an adaptation of Shakespeare's Richard III.
Yeah.
Except, because Richard III itself, fun fact, when I got pulled over for my speeding ticket, I got my first speeding ticket, by the way. When I got pulled over, I was listening to an audiobook of Richard III at the time while I got pulled over, which is insane.
The Gundam.
The Gundam. It is, I'm giving him a manicure.
It's the Gundam that started everything.
It is the Gundam that started it all. I'm giving him a little manicure, securing some things with tape as I go. But, yeah, it's, the original Richard III is also like one of those OG like anti-hero stories, except he's not an anti-hero. He's like the bad guy in the story. Richard III is most definitely the bad guy in the story. And that's like the intention behind it. And
there's a lot of like Shakespeare stuff where that's kind of the thing, like Macbeth and
the first time I heard
most of his stories don't really have good people. Sorry.
Yeah. The first time I heard "to die, to sleep, perchance to dream" was a YouTube poop. That's so funny, actually.
But it's just normal.
I think Shakespeare would have been proud, though.
What is it? Whether to suffer the... I used to know it by heart. Slings and arrows of misfortune, or...
The entire soliloquy.
Yeah, I used to know it because it was one I really, really, really liked.
It's good, though.
But I also haven't done anything in theater for a really long time, so I'm rusty. I also used to know Abigail's monologue in The Crucible. That's by heart. That's like my go-to one. I probably know that one more than I knew the soliloquy. Have you seen David Tennant's and
Catherine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Much Ado
so
About
good.
Nothing.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I saw it after Doctor Who, though.
Oh, yeah,
so
me
it was
too.
like really weird to see them liking each other like that, because Donna and the Doctor do not. And so like seeing them kind of be falling for each other, I was like, this is strange. But they're also really good actors.
Yeah. Fun fact, David Tennant, I believe his background is in Shakespeare theater. Like, he was a theater guy before he was like a television and movies
A lot
guy.
of people.
A lot of actors
yeah,
are.
Like, especially a lot of British actors.
But
because
I remember
they have a really
David
big
Tennant specifically, and I
theater.
believe, David Tennant specifically, and Andre Braugher, who is Holt in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, both have backgrounds in Shakespearean theater. Like
a lot of really good actors have backgrounds in Shakespearean theater because it's you learn a lot, and it's also very hard. We have comments. Horrible confession. The first time I heard "to die, to sleep, chance to dream," it was okay. Full sound and
signifying nothing is a powerful dish to use. Yeah.
The Crucible. Ooh, you like The Crucible?
I remember I like The Crucible as a story, but I remember having a terrible time because my name is Salem.
Yeah.
Like, that is
my mom's name is Abigail.
Yeah, but there's like...
But that's the closest thing I had. I really... So The Crucible is one of my favorite works. And I was lucky enough
really
to be Abigail in a, like, longer scene. Because, my theater class in high school, we would do our big shows, and we would do one a semester, but then we would do shorter to longer scenes, and our final scene would basically be like a big section of a play, just not the full play because we have to get through the whole class being in separate stuff. And I got to be Abigail, and I was so excited. I got to be an evil little girl making the whole town suffer, and it was great.
Okay, now I have to be extremely careful because I'm gluing part of the head together. If the glue will want to come out. Because this is Instacure. Because this is just the glue that I have obtained.
Gotta love just spicy glue. We have to end soon.
Oh my god.
Time flew.
Time flew. I still think Giles Corey is probably one of the bravest men to live. Yeah. The Crucible... Have you seen the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis? It's like the film adaptation of The Crucible.
I've seen scenes from it. I never watched. I like going and watching theater. I'm not big on theater adaptations.
Yeah, that's fair. Though I will say, I really liked it. The movie, because Daniel Day-Lewis is just a really good actor.
He is.
He's just an insanely good actor. We had to watch, because I read The Crucible in English class, like most other people did.
Yeah, same.
And we watched the Daniel Day-Lewis adaptation of The Crucible, and it was really good. It's really good. But it is a good story. And whenever we do anything related to this film, I'm sorry, I'm talking.
No,
that's okay. It was a terrible time for me.
The more weight thing. Yeah, okay. I know what we're talking. My brain is remembering now. That was
more
intense.
weight. Oh my god. That's a good That's a good look. Oh, sorry, spilled a little bit of airbrush thinner, but we're doing fine. He's still getting his little spa treatment as we go. That's kind of what this really feels like, is Mr. Unicorn is just having his little spa day of me gluing some things together and shaving down his cuticles and cleaning up a lot of these really awful panel lines that I did. What was I on? Why did I fix this? Oh my god. What was I on when I panel lined Unicorn? So I think
fumes? I don't know.
probably. Honestly, probably.
Don't sniff markers, everybody. Even though you weren't using markers, don't sniff ink.
Don't sniff ink. Don't forget that you should have ventilation when you use an airbrush. Yeah.
Remember when you were trying the airbrush here for the first time and it kept clogging?
I sure did.
That was a nightmare.
That was a nightmare. But now I'm a lot better with airbrushes, which is nice. Because a lot of it...
Have you seen our really fancy...
Yeah, Iwata ones, yeah.
Yeah.
One of these days, I will get myself...
If you
Iwata
are
airbrush.
local and want to come into the store and look at our fancy airbrushes, we have like really fancy Iwata.
They have the nice
kits.
Iwata airbrushes, which are kind of like... Iwata is kind of like the standard, like the kind of industry standard ones.
Yep.
Iwata's really nice. They're a good brand. They make a lot of good stuff. I believe we have an Iwata Neo, which is like one of the smaller ones, but it's still really nice.
We have a bigger kit and then we have a more budget friendly kit. And then we just got in really fancy paintbrushes too.
Oh yeah, the Klinsky Sables.
Yeah. And
Those
they're all
ones
gonna
are
be
very
displayed
nice.
really nice.
Those ones are very nice. They're in a little velvet box. And one of those brushes is like $50. But they're very nice. I've never used a Klinsky Sable brush, but I have seen people talk about them on like YouTube videos and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god. And truly, I don't really understand the difference with paintbrushes because I don't really do a lot of hand painting, but I do understand the difference when it comes to like hobby nippers. Like once I started using God hands, I'm like, the $60 is worth it actually.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to admit it.
Sometimes pricing for really good tools is worth it because when they last and two, they're just built better.
They're just built better. And yeah, Giles Corey, that's what allowed his family to keep their estate. Man, I gotta revisit the Crucible. I haven't watched or read it since I was in high school. But I do remember it being very good. But yeah, sometimes I feel like some things that are luxury are like not worth it even a little bit. Because there are certain things that kind of just get priced up because of the label. Like, it's just marketing. Mm-hmm. But there are some things that, like, you know what? This is 100% worth it. Like, I will not lie to you. A lot of the Tamiya brand stuff, I do like the Tamiya brand stuff. But there's a lot of things that are cheaper than the Tamiya brand stuff that is just as good or better. Mm-hmm. You know? When it comes to, like, a lot of basic tools. Like, a lot of my basic tools are not even, like, hobby-specific. Like, I have like a hobby specific polishing block just because I got it in like a deal with like a package deal with other things that I was buying.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like a hobby polishing block will run you like $10-15, or you could go to like any beauty supply like Amazon or a beauty supply
It's all
store
the same stuff.
and buy a polishing block for $1.
Yeah.
It's the same product. You know? But there are certain things that are in fact worth the price. Like my God hands are worth it. They're really nice, and
Paige has a pair of God hands. They're very, very nice.
Yeah, and I've talked to Ron about the Klinsky Sables, and he's like, yeah, you know, once I started using them, they actually are pretty worth it. And I'm like, I do trust and I do believe you, because I don't really do a lot of hand painting, but I trust people who do.
Oh, Ron is an excellent painter. He won't admit it. He will never admit it.
Oh, probably not.
But because he hates talking positive about himself. But he is an excellent painter. He does all the painting for the store. Well, him and Jorge. Jorge does stuff sometimes. But like he does really good job.
That's really cool. But yeah, I trust and I believe. I want to do a bit more with hand painting because I know I could probably do a lot of nice detail work on some like gunpla customs. I've been like conceptualizing some custom builds that I want to do that involve some like hand painted detailing that I will experiment with, and we shall see what happens. I'm looking forward to it now that I have like my hobby room mostly set up. Most people gotta talk themselves up a bit, yeah.
I try to ask
definitely-
questions and get chat talking. I think a lot of people just listen to us while they do other things.
I think it's more like, no, I think they mean more like people have to talk themselves up more. Like people make a lot of self-deprecating jokes and stuff.
I misunderstood.
And people make, my New Year's resolution was less self-deprecating jokes for a reason, which makes a lot of sense.
That's a good New Year's resolution.
That's a good New Year's resolution, because I had a similar experience of like realizing, you know, self-deprecating jokes are bad. Like, I still do them from time to time.
Stop it, you're wonderful.
Thank you. But I try not to, because I feel like you don't, you know, I'm very much of the fake it till you make it mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you don't believe it, it's always better to make like grandiose jokes instead, because even if you don't mean it, like, it still like improves your confidence kind of over time.
Yeah.
And just the like stopping even if you don't want to like make self-grandizing jokes, just stopping making self-deprecating jokes does so much, because it's just like a language thing. It's like a subconscious thing that you think about now, and I think that's a good thing. I do think more people need to talk themselves up more, because everyone's got really good things about them that need to be recognized. And that's kind of like on a little bit of a journey that I've been on lately, in like restoring my sense of self and all of that with my therapist. I got stuff on my arm because I forgot I got a little bit of glue on the cutting mat.
Oh no, glue on the arm.
It's
That's
on
the
my
worst
arm,
feeling. I hate the
which
way
is fine.
glue feels on my skin.
Really? I like peeling it off.
No. Because I usually get it on my fingies, and so then it feels
But
like...
it's more fun that way.
Oh god, no.
You can like peel
I
it off
hate
your
it.
fingers.
I hate it. It makes me feel bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Funky. That's kind of funky, which is, I think it's fun that people feel different ways about things. Like, there's a lot of things that I feel like, because I'm very sensitive to textures. I'm very sensitive to certain textures, and there's some textures that people like, that are usually sensitive to textures, like absolutely hate, but I absolutely love.
I like the texture of satin. I know a lot of people don't like that texture.
I like the texture of satin. I think it's really nice. I like things that are like squishy and slimy. So I'm
okay with squishy things. My issue with glue on my fingers is that it feels like I have like this cover on my fingers that I can't feel other things, and I don't like that. If that makes sense. It inhibits my ability and senses of touch.
That is true. It does do that. I guess that's just not something I personally am as sensitive to, but you are, which is interesting. Yeah.
I want to say it's my ADHD, but it also is a symptom of like the autism.
Yeah.
I'm just not diagnosed, so I
got Anakin energy because I hate sand. You're real though. Sand sucks. I hate sand.
Oh my god, I hate sand. I have a loathe for sand, and like the thing is that I hate sand for the same reason.
And it gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. I hate the beach.
Anakin
The only time
Skywalker,
I've ever
autistic
enjoyed
king.
myself at the beach was in the fall, and the sand was like more compacted because there wasn't people running all over it because it was the fall, and like it was cooler, so it wasn't like just. Sand so much. I'm sorry. That just put me on a tangent.
I hate sand. Of course, it's rough and it gets everywhere. But it's real though. Sand sucks.
The most real thing Anakin has ever said.
Aside from that time he killed a room full of children.
Did
Anyway.
you look at the comment?
Anakin Skywalker was right.
You said at the same time the comment came up, and it was really funny.
Oh my god. Yeah. We're all on the same page. Anakin was right about that, actually.
About killing the children?
Yeah. Listen, no one ever asked. Everyone's always like, man, how could Anakin kill all those children? But it's never, what did those kids do to Anakin?
Well, so you know why he did it, right?
No, I know.
Okay,
But
like there's the thought of like, you know, ending the perpetual blah 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 of the Jedi. Like, yeah, killing kids is like really bad, and you shouldn't do that. But like, his reason wasn't to, I'm just gonna murder these kids.
No, I know.
Like, I bet you he had internal struggles about it, but also like,
You know, I feel like that had to be, as a Jedi, he probably had encountered younglings to an extent, and was
so
like...
Star Wars 3 was my first Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
And I saw it in theaters with my dad.
Oh my god.
So
I
like,
think I also saw it in theaters, but I just like do not remember it at all because I was too young.
so it is 1:03.
Oh my god, yeah.
So we should probably wrap up because we also have the other thing we need to shoot today and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah. His spa day is more or less, like there's still a little bit of things that I want to do with him, but I think we made a lot of good progress.
We
in,
did.
Like, just cleaning him up, and it already makes me happy just looking at a lot of the little rough edges that have been trimmed down, and like a lot of the lines that have been cleaned up, and like the fact that his head is now glued so that it doesn't just keep moving and exploding is pretty nice. And once everything is a little bit more settled, I'll be gluing on some of the other armor pieces on. But I think we've made some good progress.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
So, thank you everybody for watching today, and you know, everyone who chatted.
Progress, if you will. Yeah, you're right.
Thanks to everybody who is a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. Hopefully by like the summer is kind of what I'm shooting for. So if you like today, like what you watch, and you want to hang out with Salem on Saturdays, you should totally subscribe. If you like today just in general, but you don't know if you want to commit, just like the video. That'd be really great. It's really helpful. It lets our stuff get seen to other people.
Thank you, Heather, for doing the YouTuber spiel for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Support our channel, please, so that I can buy more Gundam. Thank you.
Thank you. And, you know, share with friends and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in. As always, I shall see you all not next week, but the week after, because I'm off next week.
That's what I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, so we're not going to be live next week, but the Saturday after, we will be. The goal is to try to get Salem to be a little more consistent, so we've planned breaks out for her, so like every time there's a break, we'll try to let you know ahead of time, and hopefully there's not weird software issues in the future.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.